We must first acknowledge the foundational dramatic irony of the situation we currently find ourselves in, which the initial Game of Thrones analogy attempted to capture, but ultimately failed to accurately represent the sheer complexity of our current situation. Our situation. The idea of Mikel Arteta, the valiant Jon Snow, standing alone against overwhelming odds, awaiting the timely arrival of a cavalry consisting of players like Martin Odegaard, Kai Havertz, and Gyrien Timber, is far too simplistic a narrative for the sophisticated operation that is the modern Arsenal Football Club. We are not a solitary hero with a sword aloft. We are a meticulously constructed army, a team that has amassed more domestic points than almost every other top team across Europe's top 5 leagues. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Paris, Saint-Germain, and Bayern Munich being the only exceptions. Thorough? This success is not an accident. It is the result of a brilliant system. The problem, and the reason the cavalry analogy breaks down, is that our brilliant army has been forced to fight with key regiments constantly being rotated out or falling in the field, and the cavalry itself, the players we are waiting on, keeps suffering setbacks. We are an unbeaten force since August, sitting comfortably and drinking Dornish wine, only to look over and see our reinforcements flailing and falling before they even reach the battle. The crucial question we must confront is how we maintain our position and stay ahead of the curve when the schedule is brutal, with games arriving thick and fast, and a fixture list that includes major domestic rivals and European powerhouses. When we look at the official list of absences, the scale of the crisis becomes undeniable. Key figures like Kai Havertz, Martin Odegaard, and Noni Madueke have played a fraction of the available minutes. And this is without even listing the numerous times Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus, or Gabriel Martinelli have had their availability questioned. It is the clustering of injuries in specific areas, especially in the forward line and the attacking midfield department, that is the most disruptive factor. No other top team has endured anything like this level of unrest in one core area of the field. The statistical reality is that we are 4th in the league for open play, expected goals. A remarkable feat given the circumstances. But logically, we should be far worse off. We have simply lacked the necessary personnel in the critical forward areas to explore the complementary pairs and key dynamic developments that we discussed extensively in the pre-season, the ones that are designed to win us the tight games on their own. We've been robbed of the luxury of having Gabriel Jesus stretching tired centre-backs for 60 minutes before Havertz comes on to nod one, or an hour of an aggressive Odegaard performance, dropping the line deeper before Emile Smith-Rowe delivers the killer blow in the final 25 minutes. Beyond the immediate availability issue, there is the secondary but equally detrimental issue of match rhythm. While players might be declared fit on paper without consistent competitive input, they will inevitably be slightly off the pace. The system we have built thrives on rhythm. When players have had a consistent run in the team, they have demonstrably flourished. We saw this with Gabriel Jesus finding his best form just before his last injury, Noni Madueke putting in his best performance against Forest after a consistent run, and Leandro Trossard hitting excellent goal and assist numbers only when he started a consistent run of games. The squad is a machine, a system ready to go up a level, but it requires the right input to maintain peak operating efficiency. The returns of Havertz, Odegaard and Madueke are not just about adding bodies, they are about providing specific, high-level tactical solutions that address the persistent problems we have faced in those tight, cagey games that sometimes go our way and sometimes tragically do not. We must ask ourselves candidly, are these ongoing clustered injuries genuinely derailing our season yet again? The context here is essential. The entire era of modern football, driven by relentless scheduling and escalating physical demands, dictates that injury occurrence is simply a facet of the game, an ever-increasing cost in terms of rehabilitation and surgery. When we look around the league, we see this reality everywhere. Rivals like Tottenham, Newcastle, and Chelsea are all dealing with substantial injury lists. It is no longer relevant to ask which team can simply avoid injuries, as that is becoming a fantasy. The key title indicators in this new era are instead who can avoid clusters of injuries, who deals with injuries best, and who is best equipped to manage the inevitable setbacks. to their key players. Title-winning sides of the past have not merely relied on luck, they have handled the crises well. Liverpool successfully navigated extended absences for key defenders and their world-class goalkeeper because the players stepping in, the next man up, were ready and capable. Manchester City managed to stay within striking distance despite major injuries to Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland because they rotated effectively and had a system that could adapt. We must maintain a cautious optimism that our squad, built explicitly for depth and tactical flexibility, can do the same. In the analytical sphere, we, the fans, often struggle to discuss injuries because it is perhaps the most multifactorial issue in the sport. It is easy to point fingers at a specific pass or a shot, but how can any layman, myself included, sit here and attribute Gabriel Martinelli's latest setback to one singular cause? It could be overplaying, an ill-informed managerial decision, or it could be the sheer calendar congestion, a micro-movement during a specific type of sprint, their body composition, the specific brand of boots they wore, or the simple, cruel hand of bad luck. The club, to their credit, is fully aware of this complexity, having acknowledged a review of the medical department and implementing significant changes. The manager himself has spoken eloquently about the randomness of injury, recounting how a seemingly minor issue was traced back to a player's child not sleeping for 3 days, thus impacting recovery. He also highlighted the impossibility of replicating the intensity of a high-stakes match in a training environment, noting that a player might need to hit a top speed they haven't achieved in weeks, leading to a breakdown when the match demands it. This leads us to the critical and fascinating look at how Arsenal is actively looking to the future to gain a competitive edge. The club is reportedly using what they call performance models, custom-built, AI-driven tools developed house. These systems ingest tens of thousands of data points daily, GPS tracking from training, match statistics, recovery times, sprint records, biomechanical metrics, and even micro-movements during drills. The purpose is not to rely on static post-match video analysis, but to train these AI models to answer specific, complex questions that humans cannot, ranging from identifying deep fatigue patterns to forecasting injury risk with greater accuracy. This proactive data-led approach is already in use for various organizational processes and promises to give the club a valuable insight, a definite edge in an era where the schedule is designed to break players. We must trust that the club is looking ahead, building a squad that can cope, and implementing the technology needed to manage this new reality. Now, let's pivot to the players who are returning and the specific tactical upgrades they immediately provide. The first, and arguably most disruptive, is T. Havertz. His run and goal against a high-quality opponent like Athletic Bilbao is a perfect snapshot of the power and presence he brings. A 6'4" brute who simply folds a defence like a pack of cards. This is a level of power and aerial presence that has been acutely missing from our forward line. Havertz's raw output numbers, even removing statistical anomalies and small sample sizes from last season, place him right at the top of our squad for non-penalty, expected goals and expected assisted goals per 90 minutes, confirming we are re-adding one of our most dangerous players. Tactically, he provides a new dimension, the ability to go long and over the top of pressing teams with consistency. His aerial dual win rate places him in the top quarter of European players, a significant upgrade on other forward options. Furthermore, our goalkeeper's long ball metrics show a clear, measurable increase in the desire to play longer this season, and Havertz's reliability as a target is the crucial final piece to make this strategy stick. This ability to go long would have been particularly helpful in the tight, high-press games where we were forced long by dominant centre-backs. Havertz also helps reduce a notable statistical quirk. We currently face a disproportionately high number of shots from corners and set pieces, and his aerial presence on the front post will be invaluable in reducing this vulnerability. The second crucial element is the potential for a dynamic twin-8 partnership involving Martin Odegaard and Emile Smith-Rowe. In games against teams that sit deep in a low block, Odegaard often operates outside the defensive shape, drawing players out, while Smith-Rowe can position himself inside the block, ready to Odegaard excels at the eye of the needle pass, pulling the entire defensive line around and creating space through his drop-off movements. Smith Rowe, however, is exceptional at timing his arrival at the edge of the box to deliver the killer blow. A zone Odegaard cannot always occupy on that side, and where even Declan Rice doesn't always time his runs to perfection. The return of this potential partnership, even if only used situationally, offers a massive tactical advantage for breaking down stubborn defences, giving us a higher quality option than we had in a recent tight match against a difficult 5-man defence. Where the player occupying the 8 role struggled to progress the ball with the same quality and ended up passing to heavily marked players ahead of the ball. Finally, we have Noni Madueke, who represents a different kind of tactical solution. A strong-footed, touchline-hugging winger, a profile. The squad is, frankly, crying out for full. Almost every other option wants to roll inside, but Madueke provides a pure, chalk-on-the-boots option that stretches the pitch and provides width. This unique standing, burst and ability to commit defenders to the touchline offers an option we haven't seen for an extended period, particularly on the left. In games against back fours, his threat is clear, and even in congested situations, his involvement in the box is higher than other options. This choice, this returning tool to the toolbox, is fundamental, as you cannot solve every tactical problem with the same tools. The point is that the pieces, the tools, the cavalry are returning, sir. They will all be needed to take the load off the overworked players like Jesus, whose ridiculous pressing rate ultimately contributed to his latest injury. If Havertz is there, Jesus is not having to press at that unsustainable volume. We are going to need everyone to see this title challenge over the line. And while the setbacks are frustrating, Arsenal has built a squad that is ready, and we are about to see just how good it can be when the full Arsenal is deployed.